Welcome into another episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I am Will Thomas. We've got these videos coming at you from my hotel room in Mobile, Alabama for the next 9 days. I'll be covering the Senior Bowl on site, so I'm really excited for that. So follow me here. Follow me on Twitter for all of that coverage. What I wanted to start doing today is now that the transfer portal is more or less wrapped up, right? Like we think we're just about done, but who knows about the hells that we're going to get. But I wanted to make a video for each team in the SEC, just like a final transfer portal recap, go through all of the players that left, all the players that came in, just some of the nuances, some of the major headlines. So we're starting off in alphabetical order with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, Bama lost 23 players to the portal and brought in 17. Going through the players that they lost. Quay Russaw, one of the biggest ones at linebacker. He was a former blue chip guy. He's hitting the portal. Isaiah Horton at receiver left. Keon Keeley at edge. James Smith on the defensive line. Joseph Ionata on the offensive line. Richard Young at running back. Now, out of those six guys, the biggest ones obviously are Isaiah Horton and probably Quay Russaw. But I'm looking at a guy like Keon Keeley coming off the edge. He was a former five-star guy. He's going to Notre Dame now. He was one of those unrealized potential guys, right? He was rated incredibly high, and you started to hear his name on the broadcast a little more late in the year. He started to make some better plays. He just didn't quite realize it in Tuscaloosa. So now going to play for Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, I do think is a big upgrade for him. They also lost Kelby Collins and Noah Carter on the defensive line, Jordan Raynaud and Jalen Hale. Raynaud on the defensive line, Jalen Hale at receiver. You lost Cameron Howard at safety, and then Wilkin Formby at offensive tackle. He's probably one of the biggest losses on the offensive line. You lost guys like Micah DeBose, Arka Lanagwam on the offensive line. So I won't go through every single name because that's just boring, but just highlighting some of the biggest ones that Bama lost. But then now going to what's more fun for Bama and what fans care about more is guys who transferred in. On the defensive line, right? Like you lost James Smith, Kelby Collins, and Jordan Raynaud on the D line. Also Keon Keeley. You brought in Devin Tompkins from USC, and you brought in Terrence Green from Oregon. They brought those guys in really to backfill those losses on the defensive line, and I think they did a really good job with those two guys on the interior. And then coming off the edge, they brought in Desmond Umeozulu from South Carolina. They brought in Kendrick Bingley Jones from Mississippi State. So Kalen DeBoer, despite the losses on the defensive line that he had to go through in the portal with players leaving, he backfilled it really, really well. And the other position that they backfilled pretty well was when they lost Isaiah Horton at receiver. They brought in Noah Rogers from NC State. He's a really good player. He was with the Wolfpack, but he was formerly rated really, really high. And now he's coming into Tuscaloosa to play with Austin Mack and that Bama offense. I think that marriage is going to work out really well. On the offensive line, I brought up how Bama lost Wilkin Formby. They also lost Joseph Ionata. They lost Olias Alanen. But they brought in Ty Haywood from Michigan. They brought in Nick Brooks from Texas. They brought in Racine Delgado from Cal Poly. Javen James from Mississippi State. Caden Strayhorn also from Michigan. And Ethan Fields from Ole Miss. So DeBoer saw the offensive line gap. He saw the people who he was losing, but also just knowing how valuable that position is and how much valuable depth is on the offensive line. He brought in all of those guys I think are going to be really, really good. You have Caleb Woodson coming in at linebacker. He is from Virginia Tech. You have Carmelo O'Neal from Mercer. He's a safety. He'll be more of a depth piece. Caleb Smith also coming in on the defensive line from Washington. And then because he had to, he brought in a long snapper from Syracuse and Ethan Stanger and Lorsan Quinn from Marshall at kicker. So coming in to this next season, Bama's roster is not the level above like you're used to seeing it in years past, right? Where they have the talent advantage at 90% of spots over other teams. But I think they backfilled in the portal really well because every team is going through attrition, right? Every single school is going to have to deal with losing starter caliber players year in and year out, no matter how much success you had, no matter how good your coach is. But I think Bama did a pretty good job of backfilling with some of the guys they brought in and those losses. But the biggest storyline for Bama in the portal really kind of is a bad one because they had Hollywood Smothers committed, the NC State running back. And then Texas came in, swooped in, and just paid him more and got him to flip. If you were bringing in Hollywood Smothers here, in addition with the rest of this class, it would have been a lot better. Obviously, this is still a very good haul for DeBoer coming in. Offensive skill guys like Noah Rogers. That's really the only major skill player they're bringing in. He's bringing in Josh Ford at tight end from Oklahoma State, but for the most part, the offense is going to be at skill positions more or less the same. You're just kind of replacing Isaiah Horton with Noah Rogers, so we'll see how that goes. But losing Smothers was a big hit for DeBoer and the Tide in the portal. So there you have it. There's your Alabama transfer portal recap. I will be doing one of these for every team in the SEC. So if your team is not Alabama and you want to see the recap, subscribe to me here. I will get that video out for your team in the very near future. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I am Will Thomas, and I will see you next time.